Modeling is a pathway to excellence. AA is entirely built on the concept of modeling. The 12-step programs, millions of people have been successful because of their participation in the 12-step programs. It's not that the 12-step programs have something other things don't. It's that they've really grasped on the concept of modeling. When you're new to a 12-step program, you're supposed to find a sponsor. Who should that be? Somebody who has what you want, so you can learn from that person how you can be successful. So here's the question for you. Who is it that you want to model? Think about it. Is there a person in your world, in your life, that you would like to be like? Do you look at somebody and say, that's who I wish I could become? Is there anybody? If there isn't, your world is too small, and you need to find a new model. Because if you model yourself, it's kind of like there's an old Zen axiom that if you try to fix the mind with your mind, it leads to nothing but confusion. And so if we try to fix ourselves with only ourselves, well, we'll be limited by our own experiences. So here's the question. Who's in your world that can be a model to you? Who do you want to model? Maybe it's a famous person who's on TV or writes books or whatever else, but I always encourage people to find models from their real world. I've been pretty successful in business. A lot of people wish that they had the same business success that I've had. Charles may or may not be aware of this, but I learn as much from him as he ever learns from coming to any of my classes, because I'm watching him, because my perception is that his business is more successful than mine, and I want to see how he's doing it. Howie's another guy. Howie's another guy who I want to be like. And so I meet with Howie, I eat with Howie, I go to Howie's house, I sit on the computer with Howie, I email Howie, I call Howie, and the whole time I'm trying to learn how I can be like Howie. Makes a lot of sense.
Can you model from various?
Oh yeah, absolutely, you don't have to pick one, but we need to find a starting point. For the sake of this exercise, I want everybody to be able to think of at least one person in your world who you'd like to model. Do you have a person in your mind? You have a person, raise your hand. If you have a person in mind you can think of that you'd like to model. I mean, maybe it's maybe it's my grandfather. I always wanted, he was my first model. That's who I wanted to be like. So it can be a family person. It can be a business person. It can be a person who you see as having successful relationships. Is there somebody in your world who has what you want? Think about that person. And this is a great exercise, a great mental exercise using the submodalities and the creative capacity of the mind that neurolinguistic programming talks about to experience, if you will, sort of collecting the attributes of that person and bringing them into your own life. So I'll guide you through that exercise. It's really a pretty simple exercise. Close your eyes. A lot of these things are easier done with the eyes closed. And identify a person who has what you want. Now imagine that person as a giant photo in front of you. Imagine that on the giant photo, all the attributes are labeled, perhaps even with a Sharpie marker off to the left, off to the right. The attributes that you see: punctual, stick-to-itive, loving, caring, generous, grateful, successful, wealthy, calm, spiritual. Whatever attributes you associate with that person, see those attributes written in a giant Sharpie on the left side and the right side and above that person. And imagine looking at that picture, seeing all those attributes that you see as important labeled. Now imagine that photo is life-size and it's being held up by a group of cheerleaders. Just imagine it. It's a crazy imagination, but imagine that photo of the person whose attributes you'd like to experience in your own life is being held up by a group of cheerleaders on a piece of paper. In fact, you can even hear the crowd. You can hear them cheering. It's as if you're at a football game. And imagine that you're 20 feet back and you realize that when you lock onto that image, that everybody in the crowd is supporting you. in breaking through that image and attracting all of those labels to your own life. So are you ready? Imagine now running directly towards that paper picture. See yourself busting through it, emerging onto the other side, having attracted those words, taking them with you, as if they were Velcro to you, running out the other side, feeling those words and attributes and having associated it into your life. Here's the test. There's an NLP related test thing. Continue with your eyes closed for a minute. And think about one of those words. Think about one of those words you've attracted to yourself from that model, and let yourself feel it. Feel it at an increasing level of intensity. Feel that word now at a higher, more important level of consciousness and awareness. Taking a breath, pay attention to the floor below you, open the eyes. Feeling fantastic, by the way. Next technique, talk about a couple other techniques, and we'll run out of time.